All right, we are live. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Blockchain Buzz. We bring in the greatest crypto YouTubers from across the space. What's going on, guys? We got Shook in the house. We got Caesar. We got my guy, Rue Black. What's happening, boys? How's your holidays?
Good, good. How's everybody's holidays going? I had a good Christmas, good New Year's. I don't know if you guys hear the plane going by, but I'm gonna stop talking in case you can.
Well, everything's chill here in Arizona. It's the cold time of the month. I like it above 70 Fahrenheit. It's around about 65 right now, so it's a little frigid for me, even though I'm from Detroit, the Midwest. But I've been Arizona-ized. I can't take this 65-ish, 64. No, no, that's
How are
not
you
for
going to be
me.
from Detroit and hate the cold? I guess that's why you moved. Huh?
Melanin, bro. I can't. No, I can't do it, bro. I
I'm in
can't.
I'm in Sleet Town, man. I'm right just south of Canada. Hello, Minnesota. So we got the ice storms and the sleet and everything right now. Just slip sliding everywhere.
Absolutely not. I've heard stories of people from Detroit that have gone to Minnesota and they're like, no, I can't do it.
It's different. It's like a bone chilling cold. Like it's different.
I can't even imagine from where Rob is. Man, no way. No way
Oh,
at
dude.
all.
Yeah, like I was telling you and Max there, I think at our coldest point every winter, it gets down to about between minus 40 and 45 Celsius, which is the coldest place on the planet. It gets even colder here than the Arctic does. So,
Wow.
Yeah,
so
that's
those are the
not.
days that you just plug your truck in and you say, you know what? Maybe I stay in bed today.
Oh, right. Yeah, you probably got to keep your engine from freezing over unless you're driving diesel up there. Oh, goodness.
Diesel's actually terrible in the cold.
I would imagine so. Yeah, that thing's
Yeah,
24/7 got to be plugged in.
yeah. My father-in-law's got an F350. For what I don't know because he doesn't haul anything, but he drives an F350.
That's a classic Ford owner.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding, no kidding. We got a super chat to get to in the house. Attila the Hun, what's up, my dude? XCN, my favorite coin, changed my life forever. Thanks, Rob. Caesar, for all of your love, you guys. Keep up the great work. Let's go Goliath. Let's go staking. Let's go points program, making $100 while I sleep. There you go, man. Yeah, we should dive a little bit in. I don't know which one of you guys do any of you guys know a lot about the Goliath mainnet that's going to be launched? I know there's a lot of hype around it. I haven't dove too deep into it yet, but these things for me usually tend to be a nothing burger when like mainnets launch and stuff in terms of price action. So I try to temper people's expectations. But let's go around the table here. Shuck, let's start with you. What do you think? I know you probably know quite a bit about Goliath. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Yeah, so Goliath, it should be going live. I'm sure they'll let us know on X, but Q1, Q2 are when the big events for Goliath are supposed to take place. They're gonna open up the main net, and then the next thing that's coming is the interbank mesh, which is what everybody's really excited about. So banks within a nation can have a back channel to um, transfer and message and that sort of thing. So it's supposed to be really bullish, and it's turning on this year. I don't expect a ton of price action from it immediately. It's just kind of the announcement that hey, we're ready to go.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. These things usually do tend to be nothing burgers. I wouldn't even label it a buy the rumor, sell the news event because I don't really think that's kind of taking place with this. Maybe because no one knows exactly when the launch is, but um, yeah, with these things, like the reason I like to temper people's expectations with it is because there's so many content creators. I don't know if it's a lack of creativity or like creative block or something, but they make these hype videos on stuff like a mainnet launch, and you have to talk about it. It is a big deal, but you also have to temper those expectations and say, look, this is like what I tend to do is say, look, this is a big deal for this project when you zoom out, right?
Yeah.
But don't expect a 1,000% move to the upside within a couple of days of this happening, because too many content creators, they do build that expectation, and new people end up being the victims of buy the rumor, sell the news, right?
100%. Now, if we do get that, CZ's been talking about, we're gonna get a super cycle. So if we do happen to get, some form of a super cycle, and then the XCN team wants to, capitalize on that, and we get a few hype boys running around, then we can always make a decent move. But just in and of itself, I don't expect it to do much.
So when you say team, what are you referring to exactly? Because are you talking about chain, or because from my understanding, I mean, we're supposed to be a completely decentralized DAO, right? So it
Yeah,
always throws me off when like Solana goes down and they say, "Don't worry, we're working on it." I'm like, well, who the hell is we?
yeah, the team is
Supposed to be a we.
the Onyxcoin team specifically is what I would expect there, along with their moderators and community ambassadors. They have with the Onyx polls, they're supposed to be allocating money to marketing, so we don't know when that's going to happen, but there's $1 million that they're going to be allocating to marketing. So they can definitely make some noise if they want to, but they're still pretty closed loop on how that's going to happen.
That's a big thing a lot of companies suffer from, is absolutely awful marketing. In the previous cycle, what was that Web3 gaming project? Alluvium. Game looks amazing and always has, right? Like it's like World of Warcraft meets like Pokemon or something. I don't even know. Just it looks like a decent game, right? The graphics, everything, the playability, it all looks really good. Their marketing sucks. You can have the best game in the world, but if no one knows you have it or that it exists, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
Feel free to chime in there, boys, if you got any thoughts.
That just makes me think of my first cycle when I invested in a coin called Credits. They were the first blockchain to ever do like 1 million transactions a second or something like that, and validate it with multiple audits on the public blockchain. Like they're the first ones to do it. It's called Credits. Has anybody ever heard of Credits? Have you ever heard of it outside of like just like moments like this? You know what I mean? Like it, just like you said, you can have the tech, you can have a great thing going, you can have the partnerships. They partnered with IBM. And have you ever heard of Credits? Yeah, they didn't market properly. You know what I mean?
100%, man, 100%. And that's the key, right? Is having eyes on your project. And there's too many really good projects in this space, in my opinion, that suffer from that. I mean, I take something like Zbeck, the team, right? I don't even know how much marketing they actually do. I shouldn't say that. I mean, they literally partnered with like the NBA and NHL. So, I mean, they do have marketing at the games and stuff. But, I mean, just the presence, the online social presence of Simon, for example, and stuff like that. Like spaces every week. I think they did one yesterday. I think they did another one today. Correct me if I'm wrong, with Boba Network. Like, just always pounding it home with their retail investors and stuff like that, keeping everybody in the know. So, and that's whenever
they're really good at doing that. I think that's one of the things that kind of Charles Hoskinson with Cardano nailed, like just being always accessible and on YouTube and telling people about Cardano. Marketing is a very important part of it. But sometimes when you look at things like XCN and you know that they're related to like JP Morgan and stuff like that, sometimes maybe they don't even want to market because they just know what they're going to do. It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, there's a fair amount of projects, like when I started rabbit holing, that actually mentioned that they don't want to be known right now. Like, especially some of like the carbon ones. I'll name them, like Klima DAO. They were like Polygon, and who's the big basketball guy who sold the Mavericks? Cuban. They got investment from Mark Cuban and stuff like that, and they don't really want to be known.
Yeah. Well,
No.
So much could go wrong though when it comes to crypto, right? And a lot of teams right now for projects, especially when the entire market is down, I think that they understand that the general retail investor is not intelligent enough to understand that when the whole market is down, the whole market's down. Like I can't. You guys probably know the same. You probably get it all the time. The whole market will be red, and I'll be doing a live stream, and somebody will hop on and say, "Rob, why is this one specific altcoin down 8% today?" And I'm like, "Are you high?"
Yeah. Patrons will do that, and it's like, okay, you don't see the whole market, you don't see the whole cycle, and I try to temper any upsetment that I have, because it's like, okay, maybe you're new, you don't know how cycles work and things like that, but look at the entire market. This is what happens, right?
Yeah. Like what do you mean? But the general, I mean, most retail investors that are not even watching crypto YouTube right now because they've all abandoned ship because they think we're going into a bear market or whatever. So I mean, congratulations to everybody that's here. But those people who leave and come back and leave and come back, they think that so these teams, that's why they don't want to do these interviews and stuff when the market's down, because they're just going to get bombarded with these questions. Well, why is your project down? Yeah. Look across the space, right? Like what are we talking about here?
Yeah, so I get excited, man, when it's bearish conditions. Like I get super happy because with all the research and things that we do, is like it's just opportunity, man. Like sign me up.
It's a perfect 100. Time to learn, whether it's wanting to learn how to do proper research, researching companies specifically, learning how to trade, whatever it is, learning how to read charts. It's the perfect time to be doing that right now.
Yeah, that's when smart money accumulates. And that's what I think people don't get too. And they hear the stories of somebody investing in a meme coin and like getting all this money. They're like, okay, well, why not rich right now? You know what? I've been in crypto for 2 weeks. I want to be rich like this guy that invested in dumbass meme coin, right? Like, no, that's not exactly how it works. You gotta invest, you gotta learn how to invest, you gotta learn how to take advantage of cycles, maybe some leverage trading, all of this. But everyone wants to go zero to hero in like 2 weeks.
I think that that's the problem. Whenever we see some guy who put $1,000 into some frog coin that launched and he made $8 million out of it, right? There's a couple things they don't see. You see the story behind it, but what gets lost in the shuffle is a lot of times that person ends up locked out and unable to actually withdraw that $8 million. I've seen that happen in the past where it just gets locked, like it's the contract, right? And then you can't sell. And so did you make $8 million? That's up for debate. But then the other part of it, the more important part of it is what you didn't hear was the tens, hundreds, or even millions of people, like 10,000, 100,000s, or millions of people who got wrecked for that one person to make $8 million, right? And what are the odds are the odds greater that you're going to be that one dude, or are you going to be one of the millions who contributed to making him rich, right?
100%.
So, but these are the no one likes to talk about the non-sexy part of it, right? So
yeah, it's funny that Rue mentioned that $100 on a meme coin. I was literally just working on my 2026 motivational video, and that was literally the first line in the video. Was like, the days of $100 on a random meme coin and becoming a millionaire are gone. That was hilarious.
Unless you're like rug pulling people.
Yeah, there's always that.
There's always spend $100 on creating a rug pull, then maybe.
Speaking of meme coins, one of the things I wanted to talk about, we'll get back to XCN, but one of the other things I wanted to talk about, I know that Pump.fun right now is under a little bit of scrutiny because the alleged Solana people getting, being able to front run new coins being launched and stuff like that, insider trading, so to speak, right? But I really do like now I'm asking you guys this because we're all content creators here. So we all know how these platforms can rake us over the coals, right? Mm-hmm. And something like Pump.fun, while it is meme coins and stuff like that right now, and I mean, I use it, And I had originally thought, I think that this is a good idea for content creators as a platform, because it's a platform designed, and there's flaws to it, but the general idea, like as a content creator, is that it's designed so that the content creator themselves are actually the ones getting the bulk of the money from people who want to support that content creator. Whereas like X, for example, it's almost impossible to get monetized on X.
Yeah,
right?
I'm in agreement with you. So, and it's funny because X, and they know it's terrible. Their monetization program is terrible because I just read an article the other day about Elon trying to fix that and trying to get people rewarded for uploading directly to X. So I'm on a journey right now to try to hit that 1,000 number and see if he's all talk or if there's something else going on. But Pump.fun I actually like because as a content creator, something that they're trying to do now is find ways to incentivize these different token and coin creators to stick around longer, because they don't want to just be known as an overnight and dump it kind of company. So they're trying to work on creator incentives to get the token creators to stick around a little bit longer. And so something that that I've thought about anyway, I haven't really actually began that journey, but if so, put them to the test. Launch Focus Coin and see if they have integrated any sort of social media aspects to it. Now, if they do that, I think it could be a really, really successful program. Can you imagine if there's a crypto future? Look, I'm spilling all the beans now. Can you imagine if there was a future token and it was somehow tied to your progression? That'd be amazing, right? Like,
yeah, like you mean on X
or with Pump.fun as a creator?
Well, I do have a coin there, and I do have one there because I wanted to get a presence. I wanted to get because I believe in the platform, right? I think that content creators, like I said, should be able to get the bulk of the rewards or income from the content that they're creating, as opposed to the platform taking 90% of it and throwing you crumbs.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna go that way in our lifetimes, boys. Whether it's X that does it, Facebook, YouTube, some new decentralized protocol, it's gonna go that. I mean, Zora is literally positioned to be that exact thing. And yes. Zora, if Zora's the rough draft, we got a pretty goddamn good rough draft. Sorry for cursing. I don't know why I said that, but I try to hold it back. I'm a little jacked up. I mean, it's not perfect. It's definitely not. But I mean, it's literally a dumbed down version of Facebook. But you keep the rewards, or like that's the idea, and it'll get more sophisticated, more integratable, more scalable. And I don't just mean Zora specifically. I mean that concept, like that. Yeah. If X doesn't get with the program, if YouTube doesn't get with the program, somebody will, and we and whoever else is creating content, they will flock to whatever's giving them the most of their share for their content creation, rather than taking a majority percentage, or even a significant percentage for just providing the platform, because eventually providing the platform isn't really going to mean much.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you guys have tried out the new Base wallet. Like they basically it's trying to do like Zora plus a wallet with the Base wallet, where like if you do a post, like every post is a coin. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's really interesting that they do that. And I was trying Zora out, and there's already a fake BlackRoot investing on Zora, which is crazy. But
just like imagine.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's all good.
I was going to piggyback on that. Like, imagine if you could buy Elon Musk's tweet, his most famous tweet ever. You guys know what it is? If I buy Coca-Cola, the next thing I'm going to do is buy Coca-Cola and put the Coke back in it. That was his most famous tweet. That was like the most famous tweet in human history. What we're talking about here is where like you as a content creator or an individual even could purchase that tweet and monetize it if you wanted to,
NFT that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, like an NFT. It's really interesting because like these platforms, somebody's gonna figure it out, because if you think about it, like so Telegram, right, is another spot, but they kind of have a reputation to fix. Telegram is, people outside of crypto believe that Telegram is just purely a spot for scammers, and they don't realize that a lot of these projects kind of create their it's kind of, their scammers are definitely there.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. But then, like, you think of crypto future, you got Patreon, Rue's got Patreon. I don't know about you, Cesar, but that in and of itself shows that there's a problem that needs to be solved. Because, I mean, no disrespect to YouTube, but 30 to 40% of everything is, oh, goodness.
Well, I created originally, because a lot of people prefer Discord to Patreon, right? So what I did was I created a free a free Discord that I attached to my Patreon, so that my Patreon members could still, I could still see my announcements over in the Discord, and they could communicate inside of the Discord instead. Even though it was a private server and everything, someone still got scammed for like $60K because people were pretending to be me, and even though they weren't even a member of that Discord, because as long as you're on Discord, period, you have an account on Discord. Doesn't matter if you're only in private groups; they can still private message you and say, hey, I'm Cesar, and I got this great plan for this investment strategy, and just send me your Ethereum, and I'll double it and send it back to you. Right?
Yeah, same with Telegram. I had that happen because I have a private Telegram group, and I had somebody who got it just because they're like, there's a couple content creators on Telegram, I want to get in there, and they got in there, and a random message from somebody clicked the link, and bye crypto. Like,
yeah, it's insane, man. It's insane.
On that note, for anybody who needs to hear it, if you're new to the crypto space, and it's obvious, we all know that it's a scam, but it's the most common scam for a reason. People fall for it. In a base sense, if somebody is ever telling you that you need to send money to an address to get more money, you effectively will either give them ETH and they will double it, or you have 800,000 tokens that are worth $1.2 million, but you just have to deposit $10,000 before you can access it. If there's ever a situation where you have to send money to receive money, it's a scam. It's always a scam. That's the Nigerian prince scam. That's the oldest scam in the book since the modern era began. But I had somebody who I know personally, who she's a bit older, her and her, they got affected by that. And I'm like, no, if they told you that you could have access to this amount of money, but you had to send them money first, that money's gone. You never had that money to begin with. Yeah, it's just for watching out for anybody who's new out there, because it's so obvious. We all know this, but we've been in the space for a while. We've grown with this technology. There are people who are literally new to the space as of today who might not be aware of that. It's the most common scam out there.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of the most common scams I saw in the last cycle. That was very popular in the last one. Send us your crypto, we'll double it and send it back to you. Really, at the end of the day, I would say, no matter what your background is, what part of the world you're from, or anything, you have to stop for a second and ask yourself, when has anything in your life, in any aspect of your life, when has anything ever been that easy? Right? Someone's just gonna double your money and send it back to you. Like, right? You think about it like, guys, like, life doesn't work that way.
Scams, man, I gotta get this off my chest. That Coinbase scam is so ridiculous right now. I'm shocked they haven't made like more public announcements about it. But essentially, you get the phone call, a text message. Hey, somebody's trying to activate your Coinbase account. You call the number back, and then they're all like, yeah, let me help you out. And they send you emails, and it's like the scammiest thing, bro. It's it pissed me off so much. They called me. I made a video.
Yeah, I got contacted about a month ago from someone pretending to be from KuCoin. So yeah, it still happens, man, right? But
I like to have fun with those guys, get them excited, make them think they got a big fish. I'll tell them, like, I'll just fabricate the numbers. Like, how many coins were you supposed to have? They'll be like, what tokens were in your wallet that we're trying to help you lock so that you don't miss it? Oh, I have a lot of Bitcoin Cash. How much is a lot? I got like 10,000 coins, man. Like, and
can you double it and send it to me?
Yeah. I don't even know how much that'd be worth. How much would that be worth?
Oh, geez, I couldn't even tell you.
Probably be like 6 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10,000 would be like 6.4 million, I think.
Those are rookie numbers. Got to get those numbers up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back to the Onyx coin though. A lot of people have been asking me, what they should be doing, and obviously we can't give you financial advice, guys. It's your money at the end of the day. But for me personally, right now, I think that the Onyx protocol is a fantastic. I'm going to put it up on the screen for a second. Is a fantastic opportunity. Especially if you're in the red right now, try this experiment, right? Go over to like CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap or download an app like Delta or whatever, a portfolio tracker, right? And just create a new one. Put your like a new portfolio, and just put your XCN in there and your cost average, and then you can stake your XCN right here on the protocol. You can do it right from your Decent wallet if you wanted to, right? You can connect your wallet, whatever, but make sure you use reliable link to get there anyways. But you can do that. And like right now they're giving 29.22% on your staking, right? That is a fantastic way for free to lower your cost average, right? And if you every week you claim your rewards, and then you can enter it every week into your XCN portfolio that you created with your cost average. Watch how fast that free XCN coming in lowers your cost average every week, because you're getting it at free or at lower levels than your cost average, right? And watch how fast that cost average goes down for free, right? Just for helping power the network. Pretty
100%.
crazy.
This is decentralized finance. That's what I try to get people to understand. Like, this is the new wave of finance. Rob, go ahead and click down. What is it? 4 more knots on the left there to the farming. And this is a little bit more riskier, but once you've been in crypto for a while and you understand how to get in and out of liquidity pools, 51%. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, you can't, there's 0 banks that I know of where you can get 51%. And everybody's got their own risk levels, but
well, here's the other aspect of that. Another thing, especially early days, people ask me, well, how is that sustainable? Right? That sounds like a scam. How is that sustainable? Here's the thing, guys. It's not, right? What you have to understand about these things is right now, for example, the amount of people who are staking anything, really, apparently, unless you're Tom Lee, but anything you're staking right now, right? Not a lot of people are doing it. So think about it like this: they have a set number on a monthly basis in terms of rewards for staking, right? And think about it like a pie. And the fewer people who are staking, i.e., getting a slice of that pie, the bigger your piece of pie is, right? So when I say it's not sustainable, if it's 29%, or right here for the farm, it's 51%. If a ton of people piled in today to start participating, that 51% is going to plummet. So when someone asks, that doesn't sound sustainable, it sounds like a scam, it's not. You just have a bigger piece of the pie right now. But when more people come in, that number is going to go down. Just because it's 51% doesn't mean it's promised to stay at 51%, right? So this is just the intricacies of this kind of a thing, right? I mean, there's times where the Onyx protocol is at like 42% for staking, right?
Yeah, it's crazy because people run in and run out. That I saw that specifically, that farming number last week was at like 67%.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
So a lot of people saw it and were like, I want to get in on this.
I want a piece of that.
Gotta give out a couple shout outs here. Chris says, let's just call Ethereum what it is then, the Nigerian prince scam. take 30%. Fair enough. Fridge says, Cesar, we love you, but it's time to get a haircut.
I love you too. Oh, that's great. No, I'm thinking about shaving it soon, honestly. I'm gonna, I think if I shaved just that part, the landing strip, it would look pretty normal.
Yeah, it's fine, bro. Believe me. If I let my hair grow out, it looked like Sherman Hemsley from like the Jeffersons. So you're good, bro.
We're not gonna talk about mine because it's not there.
you're good, bro.
It's not there.
Gambit Goddess says, Shook Focus, the XCN guru in the building. Let's go. And of course, we can't forget Mirdid, Mirmo, Banana Time. Let's go.
Yeah.
I
do have a little alpha we can get into if you guys want to.
Drop that chat, brother. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. So let me make sure I get the right screen here.
I'm always calling. Oh, no, that's me. I'm always calling Rue Greenhorn because he always takes 20 minutes to share his screen.
Okay, so it looks like we are up. So I wanted to start here with I wanted to show people who, I'm sure there's not a ton of new XCN people here, but for folks that are new, I just wanted to show this off because XCN is one of those projects that get that scam, additive. Oh, it's just a community scam, and people refuse to acknowledge that they're actually working with actual big banks, and they're one of the few projects that have been around almost as long as like an XRP. And their crazy experience. So they've actually done work with R3. This is things that don't get talked about a lot, but there were 5 cloud-based blockchain technologies back in 2016 used to test with 40 banks that R3 ran. And I just wanted to show you the comparison here. We'll get this little first piece and then we'll just jump down to the tokens. But here we go here. We'll do the shortened version. So the banks connected to R3, they manage private distributed ledger technologies built by Chain, Eris Industries, Ethereum, IBM, and Intel. So that's a heck of a competition tree right there just to start. They evaluated the strengths and weaknesses of each technology by running smart contracts that were programmed to facilitate issuance, secondary trading, and redemption of commercial paper and short-term fixed income security, typically issued by corporations to raise funding. And each of those distributed ledgers ran smart contract based on identical business logic to enable the banks to accurately compare the difference in performance between them. Cloud computing resources were provided by Microsoft Azure, IBM Cloud, Amazon AWS, and those were used to host the ledgers, right? And you can actually, I'm not sure if you still can in 2025, but Chain Core and Onyx Core and those, you can still find remnants of those old protocol pieces a lot of the times on Azure's marketplace. And then it was a successful test. We won't read all their quotes here, but the test went successfully. R3 decided to continue, right? R3 will continue to work with the banks in its global collaborative lab over coming months to test the development applications based on distributed ledger technology for financial services industry. The lab has quickly become a center of off-gravity, I've never even heard of that word, for collaborative applied blockchain efforts. And then we got a quote down here from Adam Ludwin. Chain was pleased to bring its market-leading blockchain platform and extensive experience serving the world's largest financial institutions to this trial. Chain's technology enabled 40 leading banks to trial the issuance and trading of commercial paper on blockchain network, simply, securely, and instantly. And by undertaking initiatives such as this one, R3 is further accelerating the adoption of blockchain technology by demonstrating, instead of simply asserting, the commercial advantages of this emerging approach to financial services. And something that's interesting was most people here are familiar with Smoke from X, but we can look at the history of it. He posted a really interesting shot here from BNY Mellon. Now, I don't know what year this is from. I want to say it's older, but within this, Chain has a ton of receipts. So some of these companies aren't really around anymore, to my knowledge, but Hedgie was a project that ran on Chain's infrastructure. Mirror was another project that ran on Chain's infrastructure. This one I'm pretty sure is for sure shut down. I think that was started by Do Kwon. You can see Chain listed in the capital markets here. as well as the NASDAQ private market, which is interesting because Chain helped NASDAQ test the private stock exchange. Now, I know XRP is being talked about a little bit on the public side, but on the private side, Chain was the company that helped them test that. And also in here, you've got Lamasu, which runs Bitcoin ATMs. They also ran on Chain's technology. We come over here, you've got Align Commerce, which is now called Veeam, but they are a invoicing company that ran on Chain's infrastructure. I think we've got a few more in here. CoinsPH, it's unsure if they're still running on Chain, but they are still around. They're an exchange out of the Philippines, but that ran on Chain's infrastructure at a point in time here. And then down here, when we look at the banks, they've got some work in here. We know they've got investment from Citi. And then BBVA is very interesting because when you look into BBVA, at least the American representation of it, it's not an American bank, but it does have representation there. And the American branch is run by PNC, which if you chase that down, the shareholders there are Vanguard and BlackRock, which is the consistent chain that we find with XCN when we research it. And now there is one thing I wanted to bring people to the present. I wanted to give people something that was more recent. And for that, we go to this announcement, and I'll tell you guys why. Rob's like, I know this already, Shook. So Chain acquired a branch in Europe, and this allowed them to do services over in Europe and OTC markets. We'll just get the first piece so people understand what it is. But they launched Chain Prime out of this, and Chain Prime is designed to be, or to aggregate centralized order books from top exchanges to provide users with the best execution rates. Unlike typical OTC providers, Chain Prime will not charge a large fee or a high spread to execute high volume trades. Instead, its proprietary chain engine automates the entire process, including settlement and delivery to verified accounts. Chain Prime will be available 24/7, 365. It will not be accessible in all regions. Once Chain Prime is launched to the public, additional information and terms, conditions for service zones will be available. Now that's really interesting because that's a technology that exchanges would use to make sure that their order books and prices are correct. And so looking back at an image like this, that tells me that the technology that would help a coins like coins.ph exchange tokens is still viable. And then they had to, because they're in Europe now, what does that bring in? MiCA. They had to submit a MiCA registration request. And if we scroll down on this thing, one of the things that Chain and XCN get hit a lot for is there's no faces, there's nobody there anymore, right? That's what a lot of people like to say.
Oh God, yeah.
But it's impossible to get on Robinhood and all these other places with no people. But I digress. I'll just give you the name here. So former CEO of Chain, maybe a Control F will get me there faster. The only name listed on the MiCA paper submission is Deepak Thaplyal, and he's still listed as a director. And this is as of October of 2025. So Deepak is important because he's the way that they came about with the Tiffany jewelry and CryptoPunks situation. So it's they've kept a lot of the same plans to my knowledge from what I can see here. And this was big. Visa bought one of these things for $150,000, and that was facilitated through Chain and Anchorage Digital. It was huge. So to have the same, he's director now, but CEO around who helped facilitate this deal is crazy bullish. So I think that's I'll pass it back to you guys and let me know what you think.
Something that really stood out to me, Shook, was when you were talking about the order book technology innovation use case there, like cross-chain order book management. Anybody, does that like give anybody like any thoughts about October 10th or anything like that? Like what a prime opportunity when there's a glitch in the market across every major exchange's order books. What a prime opportunity to have a mainnet for something that's built for exactly this. What an interesting time. What a coincidence. I don't know. It's that's what that made me think. Because think about this. I'm not a billionaire.
Who needs their help, Cesar? Don't sugarcoat it, Cesar. Who needs their help?
if I owned a big exchange and I was doing business with Wintermute, whatever it is, and something like this happened, billions of dollars got liquidated in an hour, and people lost their asses with billions and billions of dollars worth of money, I would be looking for another solution. It's interesting to know that this coin that we've been focusing on for a while is a perfect solution for, something like, maybe it's a perfect solution. We would hope it is, but it's just interesting. Yeah. That's the main thing that I thought about once you brought that up.
You just like brought another whole thing to mind. Like, they could help the one exchange who's probably in need of it the most, and everybody's kind of waiting on that announcement. So that would be very interesting.
It's not that they don't need the service anymore; they need it. And now they're in the market for that service. I don't know, guys. I might have to sell everything I have for some Onyx. Does anybody want a lamp? That's worth like 100 Onyx coins.
Here's the thing I've been really kind of, trying to get out there is that for all of the short-term noise in the markets and people expecting to get rich overnight, I'm really trying to pound home lately that with these projects, guys, XCN, Zbeck, even a company like Natix, who is creating the next version, the Web3 version of Google Maps, or even partnered with Google to do this, right? They're not in competition with them to do it. They're literally working with Google to do this, right? You are front running the next 10 to 20 years of innovation. The way that the world is going to be functioning on a passive day-to-day basis that you don't even think about, right? Like, for example, the old archaic Swift system for transferring money, right? No one thinks about Swift when they're transferring money or working with money in any way, shape, or form, but it's there. And you know what? If there was an opportunity to invest in it early, a lot of people ran away with a lot of money because of it, right? That's the opportunity that's in front of you right now. All of this technology is just passively how the convenience of your day-to-day life is going to be. Streaming payroll. For crying out loud, my grandchildren are going to laugh at me when I say we used to get paid bi-weekly or monthly. They're going to say, are you serious, dude? Like, we get paid by the second here. Like, this is it, man. This is your entry point into that. If you have a broad enough scope, if you can sit back and wait for it to come to you instead of looking at the daily chart going, well, it's red today, so this is bullshit. This is Rue's fault. He told me it wasn't going any higher or that it wasn't going any lower, right? So that's the world that we're living in right now, and this is the only opportunity, in my opinion. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, or twice in a lifetime if you're old as shit like me, because I was around in the late 90s too, right? But I look back at those, the early days of stuff like Microsoft and Amazon, and even the early days of Bitcoin, right? And I heard about it back then. Now I'm sitting here going, why didn't I throw $500 into that? What did I do with that I don't even remember what I did with that $500. It couldn't have got me very far, right? So why didn't I just, put it in? That's what she said. But
and I'm looking at things too recently, like AI agents and the new old protocol that Coinbase is working on with X402, right? And having AI agents like go out there and do payments for you. It's pretty interesting Like if you have like an AI agent and say like you had a business and you had it taking calls for you with X402, you can have it take the payments too. So it's pretty interesting if someone can really get that stuff really figured out, where they have these AI agents going and doing tasks and collecting money for them.
Yeah, it's the convenience of the world we're moving to. Ken here, Rockhound says this blockchain buzz behooves me. You guys did a live stream the other day, and Rue said he dropped the word behooves, and I've been bugging him about it ever since.
You know what? There's a funny story behind that. Like my ex is her mother is like a school teacher, and like my daughter, when she's 5 years old, she's like, Daddy, it would behoove you to do this. I was like, oh my gosh, we like, and ever since then, yep.
Now you're never living it down.
Whoever in your family,
yeah.
Whoever in your family came up with that, somebody's traumatized by military, because that gives me like throwback creepers right now. That word drives me nuts.
Yeah. So, Trump, he apparently has completely ruled out pardoning Sam Bankman-Fried. Thoughts?
Oh, good.
I guess Sam was trying to get the same treatment as CZ or whatever, and I kind of see his argument a little bit. I'm not sticking up for him, but nobody lost any money at the end. In fact, people ended up with more money. But that's not an excuse for stupidity. Right?
Yeah, it's not. That's interesting. That's news to me. First off, I didn't know that he denied the pardon. I knew that Sam was trying to get one. I didn't know it was denied. But that's interesting because I believe his girlfriend is set for release or something like that soon. Who played a role in that. And the other thing is, as you said, no money was lost. Now, I'm not saying he should be pardoned, right? I mean, crimes are crimes. But he was not alone. There were a lot of
No, he wasn't alone. And at the end of the day,
he's the example.
He's the example. And while people apparently didn't lose any money, he was still doing shady stuff with said money, right? You can't operate an exchange and then move all that money off the exchange, and it's just an empty cardboard box that people are looking at on their portfolios, right? Like, and how much opportunity, profit, and everything did all of those investors miss out on because they're just now starting to get their money back? That was what, 2021, 2022? Like, that's so
it's interesting you say it wasn't alone. There was this debate between Sam Bankman-Fried and Eric Voorhees that I watched, and it was interesting because I never heard Sam Bankman-Fried speak before, and then I heard him speak, and it's like, okay, yeah, you've clearly you had some help, buddy. You definitely had some help there from my friend. So it's kind of interesting. He really seemed like this fall guy type of deal to me. It's interesting. How long is he supposed to be in?
Didn't he get like 25 years?
It was like 20 at least.
Yeah, he's got a long ass time, but I think on good behavior he'll probably get it in like 12 to 15 or something like that.
Yeah, 25 years.
Yeah, apparently Trump stated in the New York Times his decision not to pardon former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried. Remember when his girlfriend was being interviewed about trading and she was like giggling about how she doesn't use stop losses? You moron.
Yeah, that whole story is so like somewhat entertaining to me. Like, it's just How did this happen? Like, how? You got the curly head college kid moving derivatives.
Yeah, you got BitBoy outside his house screaming. I don't even know. What's this? Fridge says, what are the thoughts on CZ's new tweet? Yeah, what did he tweet again? That the bull run is still alt season's coming, or what was it he tweeted, Shook? Something like that, right?
Yeah, he said there would something about a super cycle.
Yes.
He's like, the super cycle will come, which to me, hearing him say that sounds like pump and dump. But
yeah,
when he said that
7 hours ago, I could be wrong, but super cycle coming. There you go. And that was based on the SEC removing crypto from its 2026 priority risk list.
Yes.
Yeah, I could be wrong, which means I'm trying to dump on you. Go buy BNB coin. Do it now.
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Since he got he got pardoned, right? So since he did, is he now allowed to operate in crypto again? Or like, I thought part of his conditions for being released was that he couldn't be involved with any exchanges or anything like that for like 3 years after his release or something like that, didn't it?
I don't know the exact answer to that, but somebody like CZ, I'm not saying he's doing this, but I think he's probably connected enough to influence decisions and have some crypto holdings that aren't necessarily tied to him.
He's not running Binance.
He's not running Binance.
Yeah, they do shady stuff at Binance. I'm sorry. I mean,
which actually makes the Luna thing quite interesting right now, because there was just I thought I saw a tweet that there was a giant burn that happened on Luna recently, and Binance is the largest holder of Luna.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Well, I remember a lot of people were curious back then when that whole fiasco took place with Luna, which I was a holder of Luna at that time. And a lot of people were wondering, like, well, why is Binance still, holding, and why are they, not kind of denouncing this? And well, because they've lost so much money, they were the largest holders. They're hoping to recoup some of that loss. Like, I don't blame them for not turning.
There was also a program where if you held Luna, like Luna Classic, if you held True UST or USDT, TUSD, UST, whatever the stable coin was for the Luna ecosystem, if you held those coins before a specific date, before like the incident with the algorithm breaking and everything and the stable coin decoupling, if you held coins from before then and you continued to hold them, you received a reward every single month for like, I want to say a year or a year and a half. And then there was a certain point too where they opened up that window to get new investors into Luna after the crash already happened. And that's kind of what I did. I bought in. I forget what the snapshot was, but there's a snapshot where you also got a reward. It was less of a reward, but you had to hold either Luna or the stable coin, which is not stable. And I forget how much I put in initially. But I want to say I got paid out every month. Like every single month I got paid out like $200 for about a year or a year and a half. And,
wow.
and that was, and I even sold my UST or TUSD, whatever it was, the Luna stablecoin. I even sold that after about like 8 months or 10 months, and I still kept receiving rewards. So I don't know if that's part of it, but I would just assume Binance, if they held their tokens, they probably were a large benefactor of that payback system. So that might be why too. I don't know. That's something that I thought about whenever.
Oh, of course.
Addressing that.
Absolutely. Yeah, exchanges can do some shady stuff. Remember when Coinbase stole everybody's Songbird?
What?
You didn't hear about that? Yeah, there was
I did not, but Coinbase has definitely done some shady stuff.
Yeah, they did a Songbird airdrop for XRP holders, right? For all the centralized exchanges. and Coinbase decided that all of that songbird was just going to belong to them instead of giving it to their customers.
That's how they do it, bro. But they do that with every airdrop. They do that with like almost literally everything.
Yeah,
or
where
or
they
like
won't support it. Yeah.
With when Bitcoin Cash hard forked, if you had Bitcoin on Coinbase, you didn't get any Bitcoin Cash. They took your Bitcoin Cash and they sold it. Yeah.
That's why people ask me about airdrops all the time and why I don't really participate in them. Shout out to a big homie here. He says shook on it today. And the reason that I don't primarily is because a lot of times it's empty promises. I remember when Sologenic airdropped, another one from the XRP ecosystem, and I was holding a crap ton of XRP. So you just had to hold your XRP on exchange, right? And when they first announced it, it was like a 1-to-1 airdrop, right? And no, it was like a 1.25 songbird, or sorry, Sologenic for every 1 XRP you held, right? I was like, okay, cool, right? Awesome. So I'll just hold it here and I'll wait for mine. And then they kept lowering it. By the time the airdrop came, it was like 0.25 of a Sologenic for every XRP you held or something, right? And, I was upset about it, and people were like, well, it's free money. Why are you getting so upset? Listen, for me, I'm upset. It's the principle. You are doing this airdrop as a promotion. You want people to buy your token, right? Now, I'm a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur. Now, I'm doing business with you in this aspect, in my perspective. The first thing you did was lie to me, right? You were dishonest right off the hop. So why would I buy your token now, right? You moved the goalpost on me, right? So that's why I got a bad taste in my mouth when it comes to that. And it's commonplace. Either the exchanges steal your airdrop tokens, or they don't airdrop the ratio they originally promised. They make an original promise of like 1-to-1 or whatever, right? And then they drop it down. The reason they do that is because they're trying to get other people to buy the coin, right? We'll give you an airdrop. So everyone buys XRP or whatever, pumping the price, right? And then because they're getting a 1-to-1 airdrop, right? If they hold their XRP, and then they drop it down to like 0.25, and you're like, well, I just bought all this XRP for like nothing, right? Not that XRP is not nothing, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, no, I remember now. You just jogged my memory. It was the XRP airdrop, yeah. Because Coinbase forced me to split my holdings to like 3 different places, because there was a whole like Coinbase is saying, oh no, we're not going to honor it. They wouldn't announce that they would honor the XRP airdrop, so that made me do like Binance US and like a couple other exchanges, and then my songbird was split up so much that it almost wasn't even worth it to try to move it. And yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, the coin called Peak, they did the same thing. They said they promised the airdrop. It just never even happened.
Really? I didn't even know about that, because I really like Peak as a potential project, but I didn't know that they promised an airdrop. I missed that one.
They did, and it never happened.
Did they give a reason why? They're just
not that I've seen. Yeah. And I forget what the coin was that you had to hold, but it never happened.
Really, eh? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Interesting. They pulled a tots for Scots, or Scots for tots, whatever it was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? With Michael Scott, he promises all the kids college tuition, and then it comes to it, and he's like, I don't have the money. I'm not going to do it. I'll buy your books, though. I've got laptop batteries. That's what I have.
Right.
He pulled a Scots for tots, whoever's behind Peak.
Yeah, let me just say allegedly to cover my ass, but allegedly it never happened.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It's yeah.
Another topic that I wanted to kind of dive into a little bit was so you know that Cynthia Lummis is really pushing for these for the the bill. What the hell's it called again?
Clarity
Isn't
Act,
Cynthia
Clarity
Lummis
Act.
stepping down?
What's that? Is she stepping down?
Yeah. Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a loss for the crypto space right there.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Hopefully her replacement is pro crypto because, man, she's an advocate for the space.
Yeah.
But she's claiming that, she wants this bill passed this year. But from what I'm reading, and listen, I want to make it political, okay? Just I would be saying the same thing if it was the Republicans doing it or the Democrats. But apparently, the Democrats are trying to push this bill to 2027 because with midterms coming up, they think that this act passing this would help the markets and the markets would look good come midterms. And they don't want to do anything that's going to make the markets look good in an election year. So what are your thoughts on that?
I had heard that, but then I saw because Carolyn Pham, before she left and went to MoonPay, she gave her own clarity where she gave the derivatives markets for XRP and whatnot, and they issued a whole bunch of, I think it was no contest or whatever orders from the CFTC. So in a sense, I think the CFTC already kind of gave clarity. So if the Democrats were to hold things up, I think it would just look really badly for them.
You think so? You think that the average, like for example, the average retail investor who doesn't know much about crypto or anything, you think that they would care? Or do you think they just look at the markets as a whole and go, this is BS. The markets have looked bad all year. We need some change.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's interesting to me. I've listened into the situation a little bit, but so the midterms are definitely playing a role, and I'm not picking sides here, but so one thing that Trump said was he's worried that if they don't win midterms, he might get the I word. So it would make sense for his side to get the markets in good shape, and then vice versa on the other to try to keep the markets in bad shape. But as Rue said, it's kind of like what message are we sending with crypto in general? Because it's like the Democrats aren't necessarily saying that crypto is not going to be a thing and that they don't want crypto. It seems like they want to use the market situation as an opportunity to not let Trump win midterms.
Well, to be fair, they're not saying it right now, right? I think that they saw what happened in the presidential election when they spent the whole time attacking crypto. I mean, look how much money went into backing pro-crypto candidates. I think they're just learning to shut their mouths until they have power and then go after crypto. Right?
Very interesting, yeah.
So, Caesar, I think you were going to say something about that.
I'm just thinking that, left, right, whatever, right? I'm not trying to take a stance. I'm just an American, man. I want happiness and freedom and love and all that stuff for everybody. But damn it, there's people in this world that want to take it away from us on both sides. But I'm thinking the Democrats, if they are trying to, if this is some kind of thing that's happening, that they are trying to push back some bills until 2027 so that the markets don't do good, or at least crypto doesn't do good. This reflects poorly on Trump or on because the markets don't do well. If that's the case, the way that they would do it is they would take it from a position of like, I know, surprise, surprise, but like virtue signaling. Like it's criminal, the things they're doing with crypto. There's all these kinds of negative things that they're able to do. It's spreading hate and racism, and immigrants aren't getting their benefits because they're doing whatever rhetoric they got to use to just say that the bill or the regulations that we're trying to promote and pass in 2026, if we're kicking the can down the road till 2027, that would be how they'd approach it. And then 2027 comes along, and if it's their time, then it's like, look at how great of an idea this is. We're going to pass this. We're the ones that did it. Like, just and left or right, people do it on both sides. I'm not just trying to pick on one side.
Yep, trying to look good.
I could see that happening only because we see it happening today, and we've been seeing it happening as far as like not just crypto, but just stuff like that. Just using PC BS to try to political correctness. That's what I mean by PC, political correctness BS, to try to hold things back or push things forward, depending on what it is. But yeah.
Now I do care, and this is something that I've been talking about. One of the reasons I do care about what happens here is because the interest, the stablecoin interest, is still a topic of discussion. Like Coinbase, Brian, I forget his last name, Brian Brooks. He's not letting it go. Like, he wants to be able to get that interest on the stable coins. He wants that modified because right now, of course, most people have heard by now that China's CBDC is going to offer interest. And so what that would do is push money to the emerging markets in China from the crypto side. And so, you know, as the investor, I just try to be ready to play either side of it. And I do think that if interest gets pushed into the emerging markets, like, again, crypto projects operating overseas,
hot take, and it kind of goes into the whole Trump thing and the bill passing. Well, with all of Venezuelan oil, I think people are going to be happy to have gas prices down under $2, right? But I was looking at this because I know there are a couple like different schools of thought on it. But I know Jake Claver was saying, okay, if oil spikes, then XRP will go up. And I was looking at it, and I think he's right, because every commodity we've seen, like silver, gold, every commodity is going up. And then a couple years ago, we're no longer the petrodollar. Like, Saudi Arabia ended that whole 50-year petrodollar deal.
Yeah.
So anybody can purchase oil
Guys,
in any denomination, right?
I'm sorry. I think Onyxcoin just hit a low. I think it's going to bounce from here. I think we just did it. I think we felt. I think this is a fake breakout right now. And if I'm right, we should be sending it to the other side pretty soon. It might not be that excited, but I'm looking at it right now. I've actually been waiting for this all day. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So I think oil, if it goes down a little bit more, maybe fine. But I think Trump going over there might have been trying to prevent an oil short squeeze. And it would be pretty crazy if we get like a GameStop like short squeeze on oil.
Yeah. That could spell trouble for the U.S. too. That oil it's important with the currencies and the dollars and everything right now. That oil situation is definitely important. But Caesar, I do want to, before we get out of here, I told my squad that I would get y'all to do some TA on XCN.
Yeah, definitely. What do you? I want to ask, but before I do that, Rule Black, is it Rule or Ruel? I'm sorry,
Ruel.
It's
from the
Ruel.
Hebrew.
I like
name.
That sounds better, anyways. I like it. Yeah, Ruel. Do you think a short squeeze or any kind of squeeze on oil? Do you think that would be bad, or do you think that it would be good?
I think it'd be good for XRP.
Yeah. There you go. All right, fair. I think it'd be good for gas prices. Maybe for a little bit, we'll see. But anyways, the Onyxcoin stuff. Let's see here. Let me pull up my chart. Let me. I don't know how to do this. I always get confused. Let me see.
He's an OBS guy.
Shares. Yes, that's my issue.
I use OBS too. I second that.
Heck yeah. Let's see.
I used to use OBS when I first started streaming, and then it's just StreamYard just gives you so much more in terms of control and stuff like that. Like OBS, for example, when you share your screen, it like literally shares all your tabs and everything. And if you flip to a different screen, it just,
like this.
Yeah.
Like
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to use a virtual camera. I can't hook it up the same, and that's why it's. But you guys can see this now, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm just going to move this stuff over. Obviously, on a daily time frame, we've pulled back a good bit. The low we just hit today was at 00795. Okay, we've hit that low. we're not really in any kind of area that makes sense to find support. So if we don't hold support now, and I'm going to go over why I think we'll find support here. If we don't find support now, we likely will go down to this area of resistance here, or maybe even the daily closing high here. So something between right there, that's 006, and the top of that is about 007, 0069. It's easier to remember, but somewhere in that area would likely be where we go to. We'd find support and then move up if we don't hold ground here. If we hold ground here and make a recovery rather immediately, I have a lot of faith that not only is this the low, but that we could be moving up to prices beyond this high over the next week and certainly by the end of this month. Looking at the 1 hour time frame, I said this earlier in my Onyxcoin video that it seemed pretty obvious we were going to break through this. So my thoughts were we would break through this, but it would be a fake out. We'd come down, and as soon as we're done with it, we'd move up. That'd be the only way, because again, where we are here as far as support goes, there's no support. We would drop all the way down. We would drop here. That's our closest area of support. There's nothing stopping us from there. So the only way to make sense out of going lower, because it really looked like we'd break out of this, would be if it was a fake out. And if this is a fake out, we got 41 minutes left. We literally started off the hour coming down. We've got all this time to come back up. Already half the candle's a wick. If it is a fake out, we should, in a very short amount of time, see some recovery like right now. Whether it's above these highs, whether it's just back to this, we should see some kind of recovery and price action. Ideally, if this is to be the real deal and it doesn't send us to lower prices, we should see something that is stronger than these moves here. Maybe even stronger than any of these moves here. Something that's similar maybe to some of this stuff. Maybe not the very end of this over here, but we want to see something that's stronger. All of these reactions here, we had a decent reaction, decent reaction, decent reaction. Then we had a weaker reaction and an even weaker reaction. That's when we came down. Then we had a decent reaction, a weaker reaction. That's when we came down. Let's get a reaction that's bigger than any of these other ones and show that this indeed was a fake out. And we've got, it's kind of a critical moment, but it's not that big of a deal too. I'm making it more dramatic than it sounds. I think if we go lower, cool, I'm going to buy more. I'm sure there's some other people after some of the stuff we've talked about today and some of the information that Shook has shared with us about, chain and just all the partnerships and not just partnerships, but the web that they've got spread out across the crypto space here. I would definitely buy more if we dropped below 007. I'm not scared of these prices at all. But if you want to see the price go up, we have to do this rather immediately. It has to be, I would say, if this is a fake out, we want to see this like by tomorrow. We want to be making some headway. We don't have to be above this high, but we want a more positive reaction. That's all I've got to say. And I'm excited right now because, well, it's an exciting moment. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. We'll see. Something will happen. But
yeah, I've got a bull flag. I've got a bull flag on the 8 hour, the 12 hour, forming on the daily. My breakout on it is somewhere around 1.3 cents, something like that, for its next big move. You'll probably correct from there and come back down to like 1 cent 2.5 or something for to build some level of consolidation. But that's kind of what I'm looking at.
I could see that. I could see that happening. We'll see, and that's another thing too. What we could see here, if this is a fake out, it doesn't necessarily mean that tomorrow or even by the end of next week that we're above the high that we put in at 1.3 cents. Maybe we're still below there. We could just be consolidating still, but I don't know. I don't think that we're going to pull back too much more from here. I'm counting on a little bit of recovery. I think we will be back above 1 cent.
Isn't the decision on the 15th on the new? Isn't the next stopping point for the decision on the ruling the 15th of January? Is that right?
What?
Yes.
Okay. For what?
For the Clarity Act.
Clarity.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay. I thought you were talking about Onyxcoin.
Yeah. I think go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say I'm looking at Bitcoin here, and I think we're going to bounce off 90,400. We've held it as support for 1, 2, 3, 4 days now. If we get today's daily candle close above there, we're going to have to bounce soon, though, back up to 94K, or else I think we're going to end up coming back down to 89.2, because we can only bounce off this buy wall so much before we drop below it, right? It's been pretty tight around that 90,400. So hopefully we get a bounce, on the weekend, but then we're creating another CME gap, right? So That just gives us more consolidation. But that would provide Onyxcoin with the breathing room to make that next move, right?
Yeah, they're doing. What's interesting is Onyx just finished a poll to give testnet rewards or airdrops to those who participated in testnet. That's so interesting to me because who does anybody know that participated in testnet? That's got to be the bigger people, the bigger players.
Of course.
That's very interesting.
my thoughts too. Trying to I love Onyxcoin. Obviously, it's one of my biggest bags, but the people who are probably participating most in the testnet are also probably the people who are behind the development of Onyxcoin. So if they're getting rewarded, if they're rewarding testnet participants, they're just going to reward themselves. Probably. This is where, we were talking about we were talking about the DAO earlier and how, is it a DAO? Is it decentralized? Is anything actually decentralized? I don't think Onyxcoin is actually decentralized. There are decentralized aspects of it.
Yes.
And I think that's how it should be. You need a centralized force driving the product in this centralized financial ecosystem. But the decentralized aspects that are there, that's that first development. We're not just going to go from centralized to decentralized overnight. There's going to be these in-between steps. And so people figure that out, and they'll try to talk smack. They'll be like, Onyxcoin isn't actually decentralized. I'm like, yeah, so what? That's nothing really is.
I try to get people to understand that about most projects. They need some control over the tokens. They have to have some control over it. It can't be decentralized to the point where me, you, the four of us on this call hold more tokens than the project team. Like that.
Yeah.
No.
There's 2 coins I'm thinking of that went the decentralized route, where they gave up control, they gave up command, and they let the community run it. Those 2 tokens are Cardano and EOS. I don't know if anybody remembers EOS, but that the team stepped away from EOS, and they even said that in their white paper. They're like, we have no commitment to this coin. If we decide to step away, we're not responsible for it. It's the community's token. And that's basically what happened. And the same thing with Cardano. Charles Hoskinson stepped away. It became decentralized, and it hasn't really done that well this cycle, in comparison to a lot of other altcoins. And
Jetpack asks the question here. What do you guys think about Jake Claver suing Zach Rector for $30 million? My immediate thoughts quickly are, first of all, I don't watch either one of these guys, so someone's going to have to explain to me what this is about. But secondly, what the hell is with content creators suing each other? Is this an American thing? We don't sue each other in Canada, so I don't know, right? What the hell?
I got you,
Rob. He said something mean. I want $30 million.
I got you, Rob. So there was something with Jake where he had some fraud in the past, allegedly. And every member of the inside team of Beyond Broke, if you were a part of, his Patreon or whatever, I don't know if it's a Patreon, but it's like a Patreon. They knew what was going on. But Jake was getting into business with Zach, and somehow Zach didn't know, which I don't know why you would tell all your inner circle, but not tell another millionaire guy you're getting into business with, allegedly. This is Zach's, supposedly he didn't know. And then Zach decided to just out him on a show very publicly and say, well, here's the fraud he had. And, if you're trusting him with your XRP, why should you do you really want to trust this guy?
Interesting.
Now, as far as I heard from people that are attached to my Patreon and things like that, they've had all good dealings with Jake. Even with the whole Wirtermute liquidation, none of his people got liquidated. Everybody that I've heard from on my end, and everybody I heard when I brought this up in the chat, they've had good relations with Jake. So if there's a suit, it may be that Zach decided to bring this public when Jake was only mentioning it to his inner circle.
So my thoughts on that would be that if Jake was doing something shady, and Zach revealed it, maybe launching a lawsuit might not be the best idea if you were doing something underhanded. You could end up getting
Well,
your.
this is something. Let me be very clear. And allegedly, this was something in the past. So there are public documents about it.
Okay.
Happened in 2023. Like everything's public because it was a court case. So there are public documents on what happened. But as far as currently, like everybody that I've talked to and everybody that when I brought this up on my live stream, they've had good relations with him. And like I said, when the whole Wintermute thing happened, none of his clients were liquidated from allegedly, from what I've heard.
I don't think it'll affect the XRP community. I have more faith in XRP investors than to give a crap about what a spat between two YouTubers and how it would affect their investments in a project that, I don't know. I think that's unrelated all the way. Just because they talk about XRP doesn't. But I don't watch either one of them, so I don't know.
I'm with Rob. I don't. Go ahead, Caesar.
I was going to say Ripple got sued by the SEC. They made it past that. This is a partner. Yeah, this is schoolyard bullshit.
Yeah, I'm with Rob. I personally don't watch either of those two. I don't know that these companies really care a ton about what we do. Now, if you come out and you start, bashing them and spreading lies about them and things of that nature, they may send you something. I heard that Zebek sent some dude something for trying to bash and lie on them. But yeah, I don't listen to either one of those guys. Like, as an example, the thumbnail that you see behind me, like my XCN video, when I came out with this video, Zach very publicly made a video to say that all the partnerships and everything that I mentioned were trash and not existent, basically. So
Just did you dirty?
it was like I'm a budding content creator. This guy's got the great video going right now, and the first thing I'm going to do is say that this project is a community piece of trash.
Maxis are like that, though, right?
Yeah.
Everything's garbage, right? Yeah, that's what's that one? I'm not even going to say his name, but you guys know that one content creator. Everything's going to zero except ICP. Everything's going to zero. Yeah.
I like him just because his takes make me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
Like, I love it.
Yeah. Can Caesar do TA on Jasmy?
Ooh.
I can, yeah. If you guys are cool with that, I don't mind. I can do a quick little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do some Jasmy.
Okay. Yeah, let's I should probably do a video on Jasmy here. It's been a while. Let me see here. Share screen. I'm gonna do this again. And then this one should do the weird thing. Once we do the weird thing, we're ready to do it. All right, here we go. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Oh, I'm hoping. We dropped a little bit more, I think. That's what it is. I think the wick's bigger, but I think we dropped more in the meantime. Hold on. We did. Look at that. We dropped more. But I don't know. We're holding up. I don't know, guys. I'm hoping here. Okay, anyways. Jasmy. Let's see. We'll go to crypto. Look at this on the weekly time frame. Zoom it out. All right. So first thing that I'm looking at here, and just looking at this, to me, this kind of looks like an ABC correction, right? It looks pretty clean. I didn't draw it the cleanest, but it looks pretty clean. Finding support overall, higher low. I mean, you look at this. I remember way back in the day when we were talking about this, how beautiful of a double bottom that is. It's disappointing that the markets didn't continue to grow, whatever, but still overall good structure, higher lows. We look at this from a low to a high here. You bounce at the 786 area. It's a deep extension, but you hit the golden ratio first down. You look good, and you're back above the golden ratio. I'm confident that's a low. I'm pretty confident that's a low. And again, I'm doing the short TA here, so I'm not going in depth. I'm just going off of like some fundamental things that I rely on, which is like the fibs specifically. I like this structure for a low. You need to close above the golden ratio though. To validate this as a low, I spoke a little too soon. You need to close above the golden ratio. You need to close above about 0.0094, let's just say. Close any day or multiple days or a week above there, and that will validate this as a low. Until then, it is possible you could go lower. But I do like the structure so far, and I think that you have found a low. But let me just look real quick. Daily MACD. Not really anything to go off of. You're flipping green here. The stochastics look all right, I suppose. I would assume you keep growing. Oh, that's the weekly time frame, not the daily. Yeah, the daily looks a little bit better. Yeah, I think you are. I think you're going to continue to move higher from here. That's good. You look good here. Higher lows. Okay, you've got higher lows here. You're consolidating, whatever. And you've got lower lows in your RSI. That's hidden bullish divergence. Nice. Lower lows in the stochastics. The stochastics, the MACD, and the RSI have all seen lower lows while providing higher lows in the price. I think this is a very bullish phase of consolidation. What I will say is if you are to move lower, maybe you do have hidden bullish divergence here. So maybe you do move up. But if you move up and you still somehow move lower, whatever, don't be too scared. You're probably going to find support around this 0071 to 0066 level, something like that, and then still recover, I would assume. But from here, if I'm looking at this honestly, I don't think you go lower. I actually think that you do move higher from here. And I think you're probably getting set up in some kind of pennant pattern where you will consolidate further. It'll get tighter and tighter. And ideally, you should break out to the upside. Again, if you pull back from low to high, I mean, maybe you go down to 0.00. Let me look at this hold on real quick. Maybe you go down to that 382. Maybe you could find like a double bottom. I suppose that's possible. You don't have to go all the way down here. But if not, 0.0069, 0.0066 will hold the support. There is a chance if you take out this low that you do find support right here around 008, just below there. There is a chance. I know I'm rapid firing this real quick, but I'm not trying to take up everybody's time.
That's why you're here, brother.
On a weekly basis, I do like the stochastics. I do like the MACD because crossing green is good on a weekly time frame. I mean, any of these time frames, even the small ones, you didn't cross green for 1 week. You've just crossed green. So you're likely beginning a new move here, a new phase, and from a high to a low. If that's the case, I'm not taking the October 10th low. I don't count that as real price action. Maybe it is. If you do, whoever you are doing technical analysis, that's fine. I don't, and that's also fine. It's all about where the algorithms, the market makers, any speculators are going to show significance anyway. So whatever's the most significant to you, if it works, it works. But I digress. What I'm trying to say here is I think we will continue to move up probably to about 1.35 cents. Perhaps you find resistance there. And if you don't stop at 1.35 cents, I see no reason why you couldn't go all the way up to 2.3 to 2.9 cents in a very short amount of time. I mean, like you could be up at just below 3 cents by the end of this month, but probably sometime in February, if I had to guess. I do assume this to happen through Q1, and I wouldn't be surprised if you pushed on higher through that. But right now, the first kind of stopping point to focus on would be, for me, something around 1.35 cents. And that makes sense. It's your 382. It's kind of in the heart of this zone here. It's also where you found support before, like it's just like right above that 382 is these levels over here. It makes sense to me. So something around 0.135 to maybe 0.145, something like that. 0.1.
Yeah. I've been looking at a lot of altcoin charts over the last 2 days, and to be honest with you, most of them are telling me that next week's probably going to be the next leg up for a lot of things. I think I
agree with that. Yeah.
Kind of a sideways weekend, maybe a little bit of choppy action, but then I mean it could start as early as Sunday evening after the weekly close, but I think next week we're going to see that next leg up most likely. I think Bitcoin likely makes its way to 94K again. Hopefully we can break through and fill that CME gap at 96, which gives altcoins an opportunity to keep going. So yeah,
might get that CZ super cycle.
Yeah, super cycle. Shit, if that's a super cycle, I need a super duper cycle.
Super cycle 2, for those of you, and I know you guys know this, but for those of you who might not understand, it's more about the length of time rather than like what we've seen in the past with altcoins booming and like everything does a 100x in the top 100. That's not a super cycle. That's just euphoria. That's crazy stuff. But a super cycle, it's more about time. And Rob was making a joke because this cycle has been a bit of a dud, but in reality, a super cycle is supposed to like last longer, and then it finishes with the bang. But again, I know you guys know this. I'm just clarifying in case anybody else doesn't know that out there.
Yeah, I'm always curious what everyone is thinking about 2026 now that we're kind of mentioning that whole super cycle kind of aspect. And there's a valid argument to be made about crypto being more correlated to the business cycle as opposed to the 4-year cycle, right? Which would this time around make it a 5-year cycle. But again, like I told you guys, I've made like 4 different videos laying out 4 different possible scenarios of how this year could play out. I'm really I'm caught between 2 possible scenarios here, where one is we see the first quarter of this year where we see that run up, we see the right shoulder put in on Bitcoin up to the 50-week moving average, and then we reject off and we come back down to the 200 around probably 67-ish range to kind of bottom out, right? And then we bottom out in September, October, but that would be reliant on the 4-year cycle still being valid. As Bitcoin topped based on a 4-year cycle, it topped at 126 theoretically. That would be right exactly where it should have topped in October based on the 4-year cycle and the average amount of days between the Bitcoin halving and the peak of the cycle and all that fun stuff, right? So that would tell me we put in the right shoulder. A lot of content creators come on, start saying, see, we're going higher. People buy the top, and then down we go, right? There's that possibility. We bottom this year in September, October again, like we would in a 4-year cycle, and then we start to kind of consolidate and slowly work our way back up. But then there's the 5-year potential business cycle correlation, where the argument is that with a new Fed chair coming in May, and then we see aggressive rate cuts and money printing and stimulus and quantitative easing and all this fun stuff. Well, it takes 3 or 4 months minimum for the economy to start feeling the effects of these things being implemented. So that part of it, if that's the way that it goes, well, then September, October could be mega bull run new all-time highs, right? So there's valid arguments to be made across the space. I don't see a world where everything crashes with an aggressive Fed chair printing money and cutting rates like crazy, and then you throw in midterms on top of that, and how the administration, like we talked about earlier, desperately needs the markets to look as good as possible by November. So like, where do you guys sit on all of this? I know I just kind of threw a lot at you, but
well, I think one of the things that we saw was that Bitcoin reached its all-time high before the halving. That's never happened before. So I think everything's a little bit more like accelerated. And I think with all these crypto ETFs and them like kind of stair-stepping the price of things, and like you said, the stimulus, Trump already sent out a stimulus to the military. I'm not sure if people caught that, but he just said, hey, we're sending it. Checks in the mail, you'll get it before Christmas. So there's that, along with gas prices being low. And if he sends out a stimulus package, one of the things we saw the last time he did that is that the money went into crypto, right? And with lower gas prices and the fact that we've already seen commodities like silver and gold already kind of spruce up, I think the next commodity is crypto and oil to take off here.
Well, that's another part of the potential, business cycle aspect. I've talked about that too, how we've spent the last year and a half with the stock market, gold and silver and precious metals, basically in a parabolic move for the last year and a half. And I always say that it's not a bear market just because it's a bear market, or bear phase, whatever you want to call it, in crypto, doesn't mean it's a bear market everywhere. Liquidity, that's why it's called liquidity. It flows like water. There's a bull run somewhere, and that liquidity, when precious metals and stocks go into a bear market, well, that just means the money is going somewhere else that it hasn't been in a long time, right? So is that money going to start to flow later in the year from the stock market, from silver, from gold, into risk on assets with money printing and quantitative easing and rate cuts? Is that going to cause a massive appetite for risk on assets? Because it's not just altcoins. I've talked about this lots. The Russell 2000 has completely underperformed as well. right? So it's really a reflection of a lack of appetite for risk on assets as opposed to a lack of appetite for just altcoins.
Yeah, I'm kind of with the general sense there. I think we may get a little bit of volatility here, like early in the year, up and down. And then we have that, like Rob mentioned, we have the transition of the Fed chair. I don't think day one that causes markets to be better. But some time in, some policy change and stuff as we start getting towards midterms, I think we probably start to move up a little bit. And in my community, what I've told people is to expect flat, to expect to, you know, grind, do your research, get your staking done, you know, accumulate in 2026, because the announcements that we're seeing on the other side for 2027 are kind of very bullish, especially when we start thinking Jasmy and some of those things we've been going over. Jasmy's got his test starting with PlayStation and all that. And so there's a lot of testing happening this year. We have the turning on of the systems. So 2026 to me really looks like a foundational year for a lot of these utility projects to go live. And I think it's going to be a lot of onboarding. I think there's, you know, things like that. And once people are onboarded, then I think we start looking for the bullish. We've also in 2026, unfortunately, have a lot of drama, and for some reason they always seem to sway the markets. Hashtag Aladdin. But but with those events going on, I think we're probably going to see some volatility that will shake some folks out in 2026.
There's tomorrow is the 11th of January, and that will officially have been 1 year that we have had institutional grade ETFs in America for Bitcoin, for crypto as a whole. The first Bitcoin ETF was listed on the 11th. And typically ETFs, and I said this a year ago, and well before that, I was like, I hope we don't get an ETF. And in hindsight, I wish I like kind of heeded my own words a little bit more. But anytime we've ever seen an ETF come out, for the first ETF in the United States, and it's specifically the United States, because not because USA, America is the best. I'm American. Of course, I think that. That's in my DNA, but that's not the point. The point is we have a very big market. That's why whenever we first see an ETF in America, not in the world, typically the first American ETF stagnates price with gold, with copper, with uranium, with whatever, with silver. The first ETFs that exist in these ecosystems, these sectors, if you look at it, the price action immediately afterwards is typically dull or depressing. It's not euphoric. It's not exciting. And that's why I was afraid of ETFs. With Bitcoin, we saw the largest inflows in ETFs in history, not just with Bitcoin, but with Ethereum, with all the crypto ETFs. It was the most successful thing as far as ETFs ever went. And in the price, we saw growth with Bitcoin afterwards. January 11th, we did grow going into the rest of the year. We moved all the way up to 126K. We just came back and closed basically back where we were on the time of that ETF. So we moved sideways. We moved sideways for a year, which is exactly what gold did, which is exactly what copper did, which is exactly what uranium did, if not worse. And it's typically about 6 months to 18 months that time frame lasts, and then they start to grow. So I think 2026, I think this how focused Shook was just talking about 2026 being a kind of base year to build. I think 2025 may have been that year. That's when the ETFs came in. That's when the financial institutions, and there's a lot of base for financial institution and infrastructure in the crypto space that is being built in 2026 for sure. 2027 is going to be exciting. I think I would think it's going to be exciting too. And this is where that whole super cycle theory comes on, because it's like, are we going to be extending for this amount of time? 2027 comes along, we should be in a bear market or something, because we have the halving in 2028. I don't know if you guys hear my daughter crying. I'm sorry. I think she hurt herself, if anybody hears that. But long story short, I think we've had the base built. I think the time has been the table's been laid out. And if I'm wrong, maybe then the first 6 months are stagnant. Maybe the first 6 months of this year or first 8 months of this year, maybe they are boring. Maybe it is a good time to accumulate. I feel like we've been in that for a very long time already, with altcoins especially. But I mean, if we really look, you look at Bitcoin, you look at what happened, we had the highest levels of fear that we've seen in the markets since like 2022. And all we did was put in a macro higher low. Everybody was talking about the bear market in November. Everybody was talking about it. And all we did was to do a macro higher low. In my experience, it's not fear that tells you that a bull market is over. It's mass euphoria whenever there should be fear. And I think we have it the opposite here. So I really do think, 26 will start off with a bang. I think we're all on a similar page with that. You know, the Q1 is probably going to be good. Q2 might be a little stagnant toward the end or toward the middle. I don't know. I think the beginning of Q2 might be good too. It all depends, but Q3 is typically pretty boring. We might see an exciting Q4 too, but as far as 2027 goes, I don't know, man. We could really see this push. We really could be in a super cycle. But again, get your minds right. Anybody hearing this, super cycle does not mean 100x every month for a year. That's not what it means. It means it takes a lot more time. There's no bear market or less of a bear market. That's what a super cycle means. And with that, hopefully we get some good growth too. Hopefully you're invested in the right projects like ZBEC, Jasmy, ZBCN, or XCN, you know, XRP, whatever, and hopefully you make some good plays. But those are my thoughts. I really think back to this, and this is something that all of you will only get better at. Not just you guys, the YouTubers here, but people who are watching this, the viewers. Everybody will get better at this because as we go on, there's a lot of things that we have all discussed on here that somebody who's been in crypto for a year, even if they're smarter than all of us put together, they wouldn't know because they don't have the experience. They weren't there. They don't remember. There's so much information out there you don't know. So the more that you've been in this space, the more you'll be aware, oh, wow, it has been a year since we've had ETFs. What typically happens after a year when all these ETFs get approved in other commodities? Like gold, for example, if we're going to compare to digital gold, start thinking like that and see where that takes you. And I think 2026 will be a good year. I really do. I think we're going to kick things off right, probably by the end of this month, if not February, but we'll see. I'm a little bit bullish, to say the least.
Nice. Yeah, and I do agree too. Like, I do think 2025 was a huge building year, especially back half of 2025, because you had the Swift pulled in, what was it, like 20 or 30 banks to start doing ledger testing. You had the obviously the XCN testing going on. You had the Visa stablecoin pilot. You had right. So there was a ton of building, especially in that back half of
Ripple layer
2025. Yeah. So 2025, sorry. And then what I'm thinking with 2026, what I mean by that is more so the onboarding of clients. I think we'll start hearing about the bigger customers coming on and adopting blockchain technology.
That I agree with. That makes sense. Yeah. Infrastructure first, then clientele or insiders, and then
yeah, and to kind of go back on the gold ETF that you mentioned there, Caesar, is that after that year of kind of sideways, I'm pretty sure gold went on about an 8-year bull run after that. So
sounds like a super cycle to me.
Yeah, that's literally 2 full 4-year cycles right there. So yeah. So either way, guys, 2026 and 2027 are going to be very interesting. And I think that, and I've been saying this a lot lately, I think that all the people that have left the space right now, all the people who are not paying attention to what's going on and are not kind of DCAing or building out their portfolios or doing their research, putting in the work, are going to get caught kind of right-footed, or however you want to word it, right? Off-footed. And they're gonna, those are people ask me, well, why do things run like that? It's because those people have left. And when things start to move again, those people come rushing back in, buying green candles. Right? You've already seen half of it.
Afraid of, Rob. So afraid of that. Like 2027, there's going to be noise in 2027. Like, I am confident, and there are going to be a bunch of green candle buyers. Like
yeah. And then, so what happens is, if you don't learn how to navigate this space properly, what you end up doing is you get emotional and you sell the bottoms, right? And all the while you're saying, I'm not emotional. People, don't call me emotional. Meanwhile, you're running on emotion. You sell the bottoms, you leave. All of a sudden, everything, you've lost money. All of a sudden, everything starts going parabolic. Euphoria is everywhere. Crypto's mainstream, all over the news and everything, right? Larry Fink's on freaking TV talking about it and stuff. And guess what? You come back in and you start buying these green God candles. And then everyone who was here this whole time, right now, who is building out their portfolios, putting in the work and stuff, start dumping on you, and everything crashes. Now you've lost money twice, and you walk away going, what a scam, when at the end of the day, it's really just that you didn't put the time in, right?
Speaking about putting the time in, I'm looking at Ondo Finance and the things that they're tokenizing. And by the way, they're tokenized for basically foreign accredited investors. Like, we in the US cannot invest in those tokens that Ondo has. They're for foreign accredited investors. But anyways,
I'm foreign.
yeah, Rob can do it.
Can I get your wallet address, Rob?
But you got it good with the Canadian dude.
I got a Canadian plug.
Right? A Canadian plug, eh?
Yeah.
Two of the ETFs that they made available recently are nickel and copper. So while we're focused on gold and silver here, don't forget about other precious metals like nickel and copper.
Yeah. Something funny is also happening with the banks right now too. I don't know if it's happening down there, but it's happening here. Never in my life have I ever gotten contacted by a bank here in Canada, saying, hey, just reaching out to me. I got contacted by a bank the other day. They sent me an email. I have an account there, but I don't use it, right? I had a business account there before. They're open, but I don't use them. So this bank doesn't really know my finance situation at all, right? They have no way to know. They sent me an email the other day asking me to come in and sit down with their management team and their advisors about planning my future and stuff like that with my finances. And I was like, how do you know how much money I have, right? And I don't know if they are able to see based on my social insurance number or something along those lines what I have in other banks. I don't know what the case. Something funny's happening here when it comes to that. I mean, we're in a phase where we're seeing blockchain adoption and banks trying to wiggle their way into, being in the best position possible to take advantage, whether it's custody or whatever, building their own, stable coins, or CBDCs, but calling them stable coins. And you know what I mean? Like, so just something funny's happening. I don't know what's happening down there. Have you guys experienced anything like this going on down there?
I've had something interesting happen. So it wasn't multiple banks in my situation. Well, maybe it was actually. So I like to use federal banks because they often have best rates for stuff, right? But a couple of them that I've used did a consolidation. And what was interesting is I've got a business account, personal account, and then like another account, like a few different accounts. And I got this phone call and they're like, hey, by the way, we want to get you your new login information. Do you have time to come in and talk to us? And I'm like, what do you mean my new login information? And so what they did was, because through the consolidation that they did, they now, like, all of my accounts are essentially with one entity. And they took it upon themselves to then combine my accounts under a single login. And I was like, that's strange. Like, I don't want to have access to that account when I log into this account. That's not how I want to do that. But it was their new standards, right? Because I am the same being, even though I have a business, it's an LLC. They can tie it right back to me. That's not hard. But they decided to consolidate my accounts under a single login, which was very interesting to me, to say the least.
It's a risky little game.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, some funny's going on with banks right now, man. I don't know what. you know, I don't know how this is going to benefit their customers or what, but I mean, I'm literally going into that bank that contacted me next week, and I'm going to sit down with them, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this. How did you know to contact me, right?
Yeah, very interesting.
So I guess maybe I missed it, but Rob, could you just say it one more time? Like what the big the big deal is? Like what is it that's weird to you? I'm sorry. Like they're aware of your funds, or like what? Because a bank should be aware of your funds to some degree, you know, but where's the disconnect? I'm missing something here. Can you help me?
Because I don't hold my funds in their bank. I hold my funds in different banks, and I never have held large amounts of money in that bank. As far as they know, I'm just your average person in terms of finances and stuff like that. They should have no way of knowing how much money I have, but they contacted me saying that, you know, specifically pointing out that I have, you know, X amount of money, and that if I have a plan, or if I'm interested in sitting down with their advisor.
We reach out to our high net worth individuals with
blah,
blah, blah figures, whatever. Yeah. Yeah. I bet they probably just bought that information from your banks, or maybe they're subsidiaries of your banks. That's probably, they're all kind of in business together, right? And
third party.
Yeah. Also, since 2018, every Visa transaction that's done, Visa uses blockchain technology to do transactions. You scan your card at the grocery store, you pay US dollars, it's technically tokenized. Mm-hmm. It's US dollars, you're spending it that way, but they actually have their own blockchain. And this is something that they've had since 2018. Nobody ever talks about this, but that's actually a thing. If they have that, I would assume banks to some degree have some type of accurate tracking technology, maybe that communicates within their own protocols, their own systems. I don't know. I would assume that either that or just like advertisers buy cookies of somebody on like Facebook, and then they hit you with those ads with their algorithm. Maybe it's the same thing with that, but for banking. Maybe they bought your information. I don't know. It could be something weird. I don't know, but that's just my thoughts.
Either way, it's a little
invasive. Yeah, that's why we need crypto. They won't know that shit with crypto. Unless you give that information away. Yeah, that is BS. I would say that is BS, and that's one of the problems with banking. I think nobody needs to know that. Nobody needs to know what you're worth except for you, unless you want to tout it. And if you want to tout that, then go for it. But that's your own decision.
That's why I really like the combination of my Decent wallet and the ZBET Carbon card, because I can hold all my money in USDC stablecoin on my Decent wallet, and I'm the only one who knows what's on there. And I can load my USDC onto my ZBET Carbon card and use it anywhere Visa and MasterCard is accepted globally.
Right from your Decent, yeah, school me. I don't have a ZBET card right now, but right from your ZBET card, you can load from your Decent wallet.
You can load your ZBET Carbon card with USDC from your Decent wallet. It's no different than transferring it for different exchanges. And you can load up, and then you're like, okay, so I want to move 10 grand over to my card, and then you can spend it just like a debit card, but you're spending USDC instead of fiat.
I'm gonna have to give me a ZBET card.
You're completely eliminating the bank when you do that. And it's beautiful. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Rue, but the ZBET Carbon card is also there's no fees on that card. Am I correct in that?
I believe so.
Yeah. So you're completely cutting the bank, and then people wonder, well, why would banks hate crypto technology so much? Really?
Yeah.
Because let me see. You want to pay all those bank fees, and you want the bank to tell you when you can spend money and when you can't, or you want to just be in charge of be your own man, right?
Be your own bank. That's what I mean. That's what I was first when I first came into crypto. That was the whole XRP thing, right? You get to be your own bank, and that's what got me excited about it, man. So yeah, I'd take advantage of it. Me personally, if you don't take advantage of these protocols paying 30-40%, your bank will.
Yeah, definitely look into the carbon card from ZBET. It's definitely worth a look, man. they're literally partnered with Visa for it. So, Ben, Rob, you're Mr. Anderson, Agent Smith, Mr. Anderson. The Matrix.
It's one of the best trilogies out there, I think.
Man.
I like the first one the most. I like the first one the most personally.
Apparently, there's a fourth coming out, eh?
I think there is a fourth one.
I think it came out already.
Yeah,
and I don't think it did that well.
No, it didn't. It's exactly what you would think of a remake in this day and age.
Go figure.
It's just, yeah.
All right. Wow. 2 hours, man. Again, it behooves me that 2 hours went by so fast. Oh man, we are out of time, guys. As always, thank you guys for popping in, for being a part of our weekly show here, and I hope that we can get all of you guys back again and again and again and again, because I got to be honest with you, I'm doing a lot of different things with all of my socials in terms of building out the crypto future universe, and one of the fastest growing things and projects I'm doing in terms of momentum and stuff is blockchain buzz, right? And I think that it allows exposure to all of you guys who come on to each other's audiences and stuff like that, and it helps, like, somebody from Caesar's channel might be watching and say, hey, that Rue guy or that Shook guy, I really like it, I'm going to go subscribe to them, or vice versa, right? I think it helps us all kind of grow, and it keeps. The main reason I started it, in all honesty, was because I don't want my community to be stuck in an echo chamber of just my thoughts and my opinions. I like to have people who come on who disagree with me, who see different perspectives, and like other projects and all that stuff. Yeah. So I think it's a win for everybody.
I was just talking to my wife before I did this. I was literally just talking about how much I enjoyed doing this personally. Like this means a lot to me because of the community building. I'm a lazy person to some degree. Maybe I procrastinate. I'm not lazy. I got a work ethic, but I procrastinate. Rob knows what I'm talking about.
It takes them 2 weeks to respond to the
DM. And if it wasn't for this, like, this is the most community building connecting I do. Like Ruel, Shook, I'm enthralled to meet you guys. I'm great. I'm very happy to know more people of the crypto community, especially projects we all talk about. And this just wouldn't have been something that I personally, maybe we would have interacted, maybe we would have met up at some point. I don't know, but Rob facilitated that. And I just shout out to Rob. Thank you for this. I really do look forward to these live streams whenever we do them. The blockchain buzz. I think it's cool.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love it, man. Thanks for the invite. Anytime you need somebody to come on, shoot me a DM. I'll make the time. I love doing it. The kids get happy because they get to have a movie and popcorn while I go do the show. So yeah, I love it. Glad meeting Caesar here today. Caesar is a name that I hear a lot. People have always asked me, hey, have you heard about Caesar? Have you heard about Caesar? And I don't do a ton of TA. I kind of follow eventful. I kind of do eventful investing is what I call it. So I love being able to come over here and have my community get exposed to some really sharp TA and stuff like that. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'd like to grow this into a week, like a 5 days a week, like Monday to Friday kind of thing. I'd like to do it, but it's really hard to balance everybody's schedules, right? Especially when somebody takes 2 weeks to respond to a DM, if you know anybody.
Those guys, man. Those guys.
Yeah. All right, guys. As always, thanks again, man. I'll DM all you guys. We'll get some more dates put in, and we'll keep this ball rolling, man. Thank you, everybody else, for being here. And yes, thank you for participating. And we'll see you guys next week for Blockchain Buzz. Take care. God bless.
Peace.